This show is produced by the Harwood Podcast Network.
Hi, I'm Cindy Harris, and we love making this show available to you free of charge. If you'd like to help us keep it that way, make a contribution to our Karma Jar. For more information, visit our website. This morning I've made a rolled omelet. You know, omelets are great when you're having a brunch or breakfast with family and friends, but they can be a little time consuming to make them individually. So what I've done here is I've made a rolled omelet. I've taken eggs and baked them in a large rimmed baking sheet, put some wonderful toppings on it, and rolled it up. Now, when we're making a rolled omelet, one of the things that's super important is getting our pan ready. And I'm going to be using my rimmed baking sheet. And I'm first going to start by putting a little bit of olive oil, just about a teaspoon and a half or so. And I'm going to brush that all along the bottom and the sides. And then to help us with rolling, I have a piece of parchment that I've cut. It's going to fit in the bottom, but I do want it to overhang on the edges a little bit. And I'm going to press that down and then put just a little bit more olive oil, and I'm going to oil that parchment as well. And then I'm going to set that aside. Now in a medium-sized bowl, I'm going to put in a cup of milk. Now I'm using a 1% milk, but you can use whatever you have on hand. A third of a cup of flour. And I'm going to take my whisk and I'm going to whisk that flour into the milk. Now I've cracked 8 eggs. That's going to go in next, along with a teaspoon of salt and some fresh ground pepper. And I'm going to whisk that together real well. It's important that those eggs get totally broken up. Now out in the garden this morning I had these beautiful chives. So I've picked some of them and I'm going to finely chop those up. And I'll measure out about a quarter of a cup of chives. And I'll put that into my eggs and whisk that up. Now I'm going to set this aside for just a second. And now I have about 4 slices of ham. And I'm going to take these and I'm going to chop these up. So I'm just going to stack them on top of themselves, cut it in half, flop that on top of itself so I get a nice thick layer. And then I'm going to slice through it, making some really thin strips. And then I'll rotate that and run my knife through it so I get a fairly small dice. So you can see when I'm done, it's all chopped up like this. Now it's time to get our eggs in the pan. So right before I put them in, I like to give them just one last whisk. And I'm going to pour that right in the center. And I do want to move the pan around so that the egg gets to all 4 corners. And now I'm going to take my ham and I'm just going to sprinkle that right on top. Now I've preheated the oven to 350 degrees. And this is going to bake for just about 10 minutes until these eggs have set. Now while the eggs are baking, I've also gone ahead and I've shredded up about a cup and a half of cheddar cheese. Now you can use any kind of cheese you'd like. You can even use a mixture of cheeses, but you do want about a cup and a half. Now as you can see, when it comes out, it's totally set. And now I'm going to take the cheese and I'm going to sprinkle that all over the top. And I'm going to pop this back in the oven for about 2 minutes just to get that cheese nice and melted. So it's right out of the oven. I'm going to set it down and notice I'm setting it away from me. That's going to make it easier for me to roll up. Now with one of my dinner knives, I'm just going to run my knife along the long side of the pan. And now I'm going to grab the piece of parchment, and with my knife, it's just going to lift really easily because of the way we oiled this. And we want to start by rolling this. So notice I'm flopping over just that little bit. And then I'm going to use my knife and lift that parchment and it's going to continue to roll. Now you can see once you get it started, it comes along really nicely. Just keep pulling that parchment. I'm going to pull this towards me just a little bit and get that last roll there. Now I'm going to rotate the pan back around towards me. And I have one of my really long spatulas. If you don't have a long one, you can use 2 small ones, and that will work fine. I want to get right under it, and notice I have my platter right next to me. And I'm going to just slide it right on over. Now the way I would serve this is I would just slice it, about 1 inch or 1.5 inch thick slices, and serve it to each person on their plate. But I am just going to slice it in the middle because I want to show you what it looks like. And you can see we get all that great cheese and ham all rolled up in the center. Now, if you'd like to try this rolled omelet at home, just go to our website and go to the Easy Entertaining show notes, and I'll have the recipe there for you. Don't forget to sign up so you can earn badges at our network. Make sure to join us on Facebook, and as always, if you have any questions or ideas for me, please send me an email. I'll see you next time.